Your heart is pounding. Your palms are sweating. You're sitting in a quiet room, nothing threatening in sight. But your body is acting like a lion is about to pounce. You feel this way during a job interview, or before a difficult conversation, or when you check your phone at 2 a.m. and see an email from your boss. Your brain tells you it's fine, but your body doesn't listen. Why? The real answer is far stranger than anxiety, far stranger than stress. The real answer is that you are not just living your own life. You are also living the lives of your grandparents, and their grandparents before them, and all the way back to ancestors who ran from predators on the savannah. Their survival is coded into your cells, and sometimes their fear becomes yours. This is not metaphor. This is biology. You carry a record of everything your ancestors experienced, not in your conscious memory, but in something far more intimate. You carry it in your DNA. And not just the DNA sequence, the way that DNA is read. The chemical switches that turn genes on and off. These switches respond to the environment. They change, and sometimes they pass down to you. This field of study is called epigenetics. It means above the genome. Think of your DNA as a musical score. The notes are fixed, but the way the orchestra plays them can change. Epigenetic marks are like the conductor's instructions. They tell your cells which genes to express and which to silence. And these instructions can be rewritten by stress, by trauma, by famine, by war. The most stunning proof came from a group of researchers studying the children of Holocaust survivors. You've heard about intergenerational trauma. You've heard about it in therapy sessions, in self-help books, in whispered family stories. But you haven't heard what actually happens inside the cells. Dr. Rachel Yehuda at Mount Sinai spent years studying this. She found that children of Holocaust survivors had lower levels of cortisol, a stress hormone, compared to children whose parents were not in the camps. Low cortisol is a marker of a stressed, burned-out stress response system, and it was passed down. But how? The survivors had experienced such profound terror that their bodies permanently changed how they process stress. Their epigenetic switches flipped. And those flipped switches were passed to their children. Their children were born with a stress system that was already set to high alert. Even though they never experienced the camps. Even though they grew up in safe homes. Their bodies were still preparing for the worst. Now here is where it gets truly strange. This is not just a human phenomenon. Dr. Brian Diaz and Dr. Carrie Ressler at Emory University ran an experiment with mice. They exposed male mice to the smell of cherry blossom and paired it with a mild electric shock. The mice learned to fear the smell. Then those mice had offspring. The offspring had never smelled cherry blossom. They had never been shocked. But when they were exposed to the smell for the first time, they froze. They showed fear. They had inherited the fear from their fathers. And then, this is the crucial part, those offspring had their own pups. The third generation also feared the smell. 3 generations later, the ghost of that original shock was still alive. What does this mean for you? It means that the trauma your great-grandparents endured during a famine, a war, a displacement, it may still be whispering to your genes. It means that when you feel inexplicably anxious, it may not be your own anxiety. It may be an echo from the past. You are not making it up. You are not broken. You are carrying something that was never yours to carry. But this is not a story of doom. This is a story of power. Because if trauma can be passed down, so can resilience. So can safety. So can love. The same epigenetic mechanism that flips switches in response to fear can flip them back. You are not a prisoner of your ancestors' pain. You are the one who can rewrite the instructions. Let's go back in time. Picture your ancestors. They are sitting around a fire at night. The flames crackle. The darkness beyond the fire is filled with sounds they cannot identify. Their bodies are primed for danger. Their hearts beat fast. Their breath is shallow. This is not a flaw. This is a survival machine. The fear is sharp. Keeps them alive. They pass that sharpness to their children. In a dangerous world, a child who startles easily is a child who survives. Now fast forward. You are sitting in front of a screen. The light is blue. The deadline is approaching. Your boss's message is still unanswered. Your body reacts the same way. Your heart pounds. Your palms sweat. Your breath becomes shallow. The same ancient response. But there is no lion. There is no rival tribe. There is no famine. There is only a notification. And this mismatch is at the heart of so many modern struggles. Why you can't sleep. Why you snap at small frustrations. Why you feel a low hum of dread even when nothing is wrong. It is not a personal weakness. It is an evolutionary echo. Your body is still living in the Pleistocene. Your mind is living in the 21st century. The gap between them is where your stress lives. But here is the counterintuitive twist. The very mechanism that passes down trauma is also the mechanism that can heal it. Epigenetic changes are reversible. They are not permanent scars, they are adaptive responses. They are your body's way of preparing for the world it expects to encounter. If you can change your environment, you can change your epigenetics. If you can change your behavior, you can change your gene expression. Dr. Michael Meaney at McGill University studied this in rats. He found that mother rats who licked and groomed their pups more frequently produced offspring that were less stressed and more resilient. And these offspring also became good parents. The behavior was passed on, but not through DNA sequence. It was passed through epigenetic marks. The licking changed the pup's stress response. That change lasted their whole life. And they passed it to their own pups. Now think about what that means for you. You are not just a passive recipient of your ancestors' trauma. You are an active transmitter of something new. Every time you practice mindfulness, you are flipping a switch. Every time you exercise, you are flipping a switch. Every time you connect with someone who makes you feel safe, you are flipping a switch. And those flips can be passed down. This is not a feel-good slogan. This is real biochemistry. The methylation patterns on your DNA are not set in stone. They are dynamic. They respond to your daily life. They respond to what you eat, how you sleep, how you love. You are constantly rewriting the conductor's score. And that rewritten score will be passed to your children. They will inherit not just your genes, but your states of calm or alarm. Let that sink in. Your daily mood is not just your own. It is a gift or a burden to future generations. But that also means you have agency. You are not a victim of history. You are a historian who can edit the record. You are a gardener who can prune the branches. What does this look like in practice? It looks like a father who was abused as a child choosing to hold his own child with patience. It looks like a mother who grew up in war choosing to sing lullabies instead of shouting. It looks like a person who inherited a family curse of addiction choosing to seek help. Each of these acts changes the epigenetic landscape. Each of these acts sends a different message to the next generation. A message that says, "This cycle stops with me." You are not responsible for what happened to your grandparents. You are not responsible for the wars they lived through. You are not responsible for the hunger they endured. But you are responsible for what you do with that inheritance. You are responsible for the story you tell about it. You are responsible for the way you show up in the world today. The research is clear. Dr. Yehuda found that Holocaust survivors who had strong social support and who processed their trauma showed less epigenetic change in their children. The damage was not inevitable. It was modulated by the parents' healing. The same trauma produced different outcomes depending on what happened after. This is the great hope. Your response to trauma matters more than the trauma itself. Now think about your own life. Think about the things that make you jumpy. Think about the things that make you shut down. Think about the things that make you feel like the world is unsafe. Where did those patterns come from? Were they always yours? Or did you inherit them from someone who never had a chance to heal? And here is the most liberating question. What are you going to do about it? You cannot change the past. You cannot erase the shocks that your ancestors felt. But you can change the present. You can change your body's response. You can learn to breathe slowly when the panic rises. You can learn to tell yourself that the email is not a predator. You can learn to sit with discomfort without running. And each time you do that, you are rewiring the circuit. You are telling your DNA that the world is different now. You are telling your genes that the danger has passed. And when you have children, or if you already have children, you are giving them a different inheritance. Not a perfect inheritance, but a less heavy one. A world where they are not born in a state of alarm. A world where their bodies can rest. This is what it means to be human. You are not just a single self. You are a link in a chain that stretches back millions of years. And you are also a link that stretches forward. You are the product of everything that came before. And you are the beginning of everything that comes after. So tonight, when you feel that familiar knot in your stomach, pause, breathe, ask yourself, is this mine? Or is this an echo? Is this a real threat? Or is this a ghost from the past? And then choose. Choose to act as if you are free. Because in the most literal sense, you are free to flip the switch. Your ancestors survived so that you could be here. They fought, they ran, they starved, they endured. They passed on their resilience, not just their trauma. You are the proof of their survival. You are the living evidence that they made it through. And now, you are the one who gets to decide what happens next. The ghost in your DNA is real. But you are not haunted. You are the ghost's keeper. And you have the power to turn a story of fear into a story of hope.